Hello and welcome to tonight's freshman parent orientation. I see a lot of people coming in pretty quickly here, so we're going to wait a few minutes before we get started, but thanks for joining us. Welcome, everyone. We're going to get started in a few minutes. Thank you for joining us tonight. We have a lot of very interesting things to tell you about. We're so excited that you're here. I still see a few more people coming on, so just bear with us here. We're going to try to get as many in attendance before we begin. So thank you for your patience and welcome. All right, it looks like we've got a lot of people on tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. I think we're going to go ahead and get started. And just so everybody knows, we're going to record this and have this for reference probably by tomorrow or the next day. But welcome to a new school year. I'm pleased to be your host this evening. My name is Amy Strain, and I am Sarah's Director of Marketing and Communications. I'm a mom of a sophomore named Carson, and my oldest son, Connor, graduated from Sarah in 2023, and he is beginning his sophomore year in college next week. I also have two daughters, one who graduated from Notre Dame High School in June and is headed to Cal Poly in September, and I have a fifth grader at St. Charles, so I'll be around here for a bit. Throughout the year, I will be your point person for communication. On Wednesday afternoons, I will send you a weekly e-newsletter called Spotlight on Sarah, which will include important school updates, information, and events. We have a great program for you tonight, full of detailed information about what school will look like in the fall. But before we begin, I want to quickly explain tonight's webinar format. All of the attendees have been put into a listen-only mode to minimize background noise. You will be able to ask questions using the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. About midway through the webinar, we will have a fun interactive exercise for all of you. You will need to toggle over to another website and enter a code to participate. We'll give you more instructions later, but I'm going to send you the link in a minute through the chat function so that you have the instructions handy. The presentation should be about 45 minutes, and then we will have about 15 minutes for your questions. Again, you can ask questions by typing them into the Q&A box. We will post tonight's recording to our website following the webinar. Sorry about that. Didn't mean to mute myself. After welcomes from President Mike Fideli and Principal Charlie McGraw, Assistant Principal for Academics Rita Lee will explain the school's schedule, and Dean of Studies Tom Sullivan will describe the academic expectations for students. Assistant Principal for Student Life Mary Beth Ortiz will then talk to us about student life and the creative plans her team has put in place to build community and create enriching opportunities for our Padres. Dean of Students Ray Baldonado will talk about student behavior expectations, and Padre Fund Director Jen Muncy will discuss parent involvement and philanthropy. Mr. Fideli and Mr. McGraw will close, and then we will take your questions. I'd like to now turn it over to President Mike Fideli.
Good evening, parents, guardians, and students of the class of 2028. My name is Mike Fideli. I'm from the class of 1988. And I am thrilled to be speaking to you tonight as Sarah's new president. Now, all of us here at Sarah are excited to welcome you and your sons who will be joining us for the 24-25 school year. We have so much to be thankful for, and we can't wait to see you all in just a few short weeks. Now, as is our tradition here at Sarah, we begin every gathering in prayer. Now, class of 2028, the Sarah School prayer is one that you will certainly know by heart when you graduate 4 years from now. For now, let us center ourselves and together say the Sarah School prayer, which is listed on the screen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Lord God, from you comes all that is good, all our talents and abilities. Help us develop these gifts, even when it means hard work. Help us face the reality of working together as a community. When necessary, help us deal with pain and disappointment. Be with us in our endeavors. In the spirit of Junipero Serra, let us never give up. Let this dedication in our lives today help us grow in faith, maturity, and life for tomorrow. We ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. So as a proud graduate of Serra High School, I remember back in 1985, the excitement and nerves that I had as I was about to start my Padre journey. How would I fit in? How will I transition from St. Matthew's to an all-boys high school? Would I excel academically and socially? These are all normal thoughts for a freshman about to enter high school. What still stands out for me today is that I remember from my first day entering a community that was so supportive of me and helped guide me to be the man that I am today. Now, I'm blessed to be working with an exceptional group of educators who are focused on your boys. Every member of our team, from our teachers to the coaches, counselors to the front office staff, is committed to bringing not only an exceptional learning experience for your sons, but to do so through what we call the Padre Brotherhood. This brotherhood is a culture built on respect, integrity, inclusion, and compassion that is the hallmark of a Serra education. Now, as we celebrate 80 years as the premier Catholic college prep high school in the Bay Area, we continue to honor our legacy and transform our future. Now, speaking of honoring our legacy, I'm reminded of a speech that Angelo Siragusa from the class of 1947 shared at our 50-year luncheon last April. He said that his experience at Serra was something that he has never forgotten. It gave him the foundation to be successful in life, and he cherishes the opportunity to get together with his Padre brothers whenever possible. That is what makes being a Serra Padre so special. Now, when it comes to transforming our future, we recently completed a $38 million capital campaign, the largest and most successful capital campaign in Serra's history. This summer, we completed a pool resurfacing project, which was officially signed off on by the city of San Mateo earlier this afternoon, and will be open for the start of water polo practice tomorrow. We started the construction of a new all-weather turf baseball field and renovated a classroom to a science lab to keep up with the demand of our expanding academic offerings. In addition to all that, we recently completed a 10-year master plan that sets a bold vision for the future of Serra High School. Now, our community has been busy planning for the reopening of school throughout the summer. Next, you'll be hearing some basic information to get the year started, and most importantly, you will hear how the Serra community is moving forward in support of your sons. I am looking forward to a great year at Serra with you and your boys. I would now like to introduce our principal, Mr. Charlie McGraw.
Thank you, Mr. Fideli. Hello, everyone, and once again, welcome to Serra. As principal, I'm honored to be working with a group of exceptional individuals who, over the next 4 years, will work tirelessly to educate your son. Freshman year sets the foundation for high school. Freshman year sets the foundation for your son, with a focus on his real and his lived experiences, his relationships with others, and the relevance of those relationships that are ingrained in our school's mission and our graduation learning outcomes. Freshman year is the year when the real work begins. The Serra Parent Partnership begins right now. From day one, your son will be paired with classmates, teammates, group leaders, peers, and mentors who will walk with your son and your family every step of the way. As Padres of the class of 2028, it will be filled with many firsts. It will be the first time they will walk the hallways as Padres, just like the 11,000 plus Padres who have already graduated from Serra. Each and every member of our school community, teachers, counselors, campus ministers, program directors, coaches, and administrators are excited to have you as freshman families. Each is an expert in their particular field who is partnering with you in providing every opportunity to be successful in this important first year. The various offices that report your son's health and well-being are student life, counseling, academic resources, campus ministry, athletics, clubs and activities, and the dean of students. All have a particular interest in your success and well-being as freshmen. In the spring of 2023, we completed our 18-month accreditation self-study, the outcome of which saw Sarah High School receive full accreditation, that's like a AAA rating, through the Western Association of Schools and Colleges and the Western Catholic Education Association through 2029. Over the course of your son's high school experience, an emphasis will be placed on 3 vital growth areas: living our mission, ensuring our future, and inspiring educational excellence. Our graduation learning outcomes, wisdom, faith, service, community, and leadership build upon those ideals, and they will set the foundation for your son's success. Sarah's academic course of study and student services portfolio are rooted and grounded in those documents. These ideals serve as a foundation for your son's real and lived experiences these next 4 years. Over the course of his high school career, we want your son to become his own advocate and work with his teachers, his counselors, and others at school to make sure he has everything he needs to be successful and be happy. I now want to introduce 2 key administrators at Sarah. Miss Mary Beth Ortiz, our Assistant Principal for Student Life, and Miss Rita Lee, our Assistant Principal for Academics. Miss Ortiz leads 4 different departments that impacts your son's physical and emotional learning. They are athletics, campus ministry, club and activities, and the dean of students. She will be speaking with you a little bit later. Miss Lee is responsible for the academic profile of our school, overseeing the guidance and the counseling departments, the academic resource center, 7 different academic departments, the design-led innovation program, and the Sarah Global Leadership Program. Miss Lee will share with you some of the academic success at Sarah. I now want to introduce our Assistant Principal for Academics, Ms. Rita Lee. Ms. Lee.
Thank you, Mr. McGraw. My name is Rita Lee, and I'm the Assistant Principal for Academics. I grew up in the Bay Area, about 10 minutes from Sarah. I graduated from Stanford with a bachelor's in biological science. I received my first master's from Stanford in science education and my second master's from Harvard in school leadership. I started at Sarah as the honors and AP biology teacher before moving into administration. And I can't believe it, but this will actually be the start of my 20th year at Sarah. As assistant principal, my primary role is to work with Mr. McGraw, our teachers and department chairs on curriculum instruction and professional development. I would like to introduce the rest of our academic team. Mr. Tom Sullivan is our Dean of Studies. His primary responsibilities include grades, student schedules, and working with students and parents. Mr. Rushton Hurley is our Director of Design-Led Innovation. He co-teaches the Creative Solution for the Global Good class along with myself and works with students and teachers to foster creativity and innovation. He also oversees the Global Leadership Program and teaches the Global Leadership Seminar class. Our counseling staff does personal, academic, and college counseling and is led by Mrs. Jane Zuha, our Director of Counseling, who's also an upper division counselor. Mr. Brian Imajuru and Mrs. Karen Godosi are the other upper division counselors. Mr. Danny Arias and Mr. Chris Quirey are our lower division counselors. Mrs. Gail Rosenberg is the director of the Academic Resource Center, and she leads the team in the ARC who supports our students with learning differences. Mr. Nicholas Perizzaro is our wellness counselor. He leads the wellness program at Sarah and also meets with both students and teachers. At Sarah, we have a block schedule with A days and B days. On A days, classes 1, 2, 3, and 4 will meet, and on B days, classes 5, 6, and 7 will meet. Usually once a week, homeroom will also be on a B day. The school day begins at 8:15 and ends at 2:30. A-day schedules will always be the same. We have several B-day schedules within the 8:15 to 2:30 timeframe. I've shown you the most common B-day schedule, which has a mid-morning activity. Our classes are 75 minutes in length. We have 10-minute passing periods, and students have 40 minutes for lunch. So for lower division students, they have lunch after third period on A days and after sixth period on B days. There are two resources that we have posted on the Sarah website that will help guide you through the schedules. They are both PDFs that can be downloaded and can be found by searching for calendar on the Sarah website. One is the AB block schedule. That's the schedule on the left that lists the A days and B days for the entire school year. Each day also has a hyperlink that will give you the specific schedule for that day. The other document, which is on the right-hand side, that's the bell schedule that also explains the start and end times for each class for the different schedules. I know all of this may seem overwhelming right now, but students and parents will understand it better after a few days of being in the schedule. I would now like to introduce our Dean of Studies, Mr. Tom Sullivan.
Hi, everybody. Thank you very much, Mrs. Lee. My name is Tom Sullivan, and I'm the Dean of Studies here at Sarah High School. I'm also a graduate, class of 1981, and this is my 40th year as a teacher or administrator here at Sarah High School. I started in 1985, and I'm very excited to be back again this year. So let's begin first talking about academic expectations for your sons. Okay, so what are our academic expectations? Students need to bring their electronic devices to school fully charged every day. They should also bring headphones or earbuds in case there is a need in the classroom. Specific teachers may call for a specific need, like translations or listening to an audio file or something like that. All of our teachers use Google Classroom, which makes it easier for students to find their assignments and organize their academic schedules. We recommend that students stay current in their work by completing their homework the day it's assigned, rather than waiting the day before it's due, since we have the AB schedule. Many teachers have assigned preparatory work for students to complete before the semester begins. If you haven't already done so, please check the school website for any summer assignments. About every 2 weeks, we offer office hours. This is a dedicated time in the schedule where both students and teachers are available to meet. Students should use that time to meet with their teacher, their counselor, or the ARC staff if they have any questions or need additional support. Parents, please review our attendance policies in the Student Parent Handbook. They're located on pages 30 and 31 and pages 40 and 41. Please note that attendance is checked every day and for every class period. Students are expected to attend school every day. Parents may need to adjust travel schedules with this in mind so that their students don't miss school due to traffic or travel. This will be especially important during final exams week in December and in May, since there are no makeups for missed final exams. And students who are absent for any reason will learn asynchronously, accessing resources through Google Classroom and PCR. And we have a wide range of support for your sons and for our students. As I mentioned earlier, office hours are built into the B-Day schedule roughly once every 2 weeks. Counselors also schedule check-ins with their students. They conduct both individual and small group meetings with students and engage in college planning meetings with the upper division students. Students in the Academic Resource Center are also scheduled into ARC Study Hall, where they will meet with the ARC staff either individually or in small groups. And for those students who need technical support, Mr. Morris is available both by email and in person. Let's focus a little bit on our Sarah faculty parent partnership. One of our strengths is our partnership with our parents, and it is this partnership that contributes to your son's overall success at Sarah. And our goals are the same. We all want students to experience academic, personal, and spiritual growth. And in order for this to happen, we need to work together. Parents and guardians can support their students' growth by helping their sons work through challenges. When your son struggles, please reach out to his teachers or help him reach out to his own teachers, maybe even help him write that first email. Encourage your son to take responsibility, even if it means admitting that he did something wrong. And remember, we are college prep. At the end of the 4 years, we want your son to be prepared for college and the world beyond. Let's focus a little bit on the role that the parents play and what the role that we play. What can and can't Sarah do, and parents as well. Please make sure first that your son is up and ready for school on time. Please make sure that you contact the attendance office if for any reason your son is not in class. Don't wait for the attendance office to call you if your son is reported absent by a teacher. As your son enters high school, our expectations will be different from those your son experienced in middle school. He may have needed your help much more in the past. Please resist this temptation. You won't be able to help your son when he leaves Sarah High School and goes on to college. And also, please remember that this is his experience, not yours. If your son is experiencing challenges, please encourage him to contact his teacher or counselor directly. Right? Thank you very much for listening in. And at this time, I'd like to introduce our Assistant Principal for Student Life, Mrs. Mary Beth Ortiz.
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. Good evening. My name's Mary Beth Ortiz, and I'm Assistant Principal of Student Life at Sarah. I'm delighted to welcome you as the newest members of our Sarah community. I grew up in the Bay Area. I attended Our Lady of Angels, and then I went on to St. Ignatius High School. Don't tell your boys. They always ask why I went to SI, but I married a Padre, so we're all good, and I've made things right. After high school, I went on to attend UC Davis, where I majored in Spanish with a minor in education, and I continued on at USF, where I earned my teaching credential and a master's in teaching. After USF, I taught at Our Lady of Angels and All Souls, and then I moved on to Sarah, and today I am starting my 25th year. It's not 40, but I'm getting up there. At this time, I'd like to take a minute and ask all of you a question. How do you feel right now with your son starting his freshman year? I want to invite you to take part in a brief activity. So please take out your phones and go to menti.com. You can either use the QR code or you can use the code 1885385. And once you get there, I want you to really think about how you're feeling. And I want you to enter as many words or phrases that come to mind as you're sitting here contemplating your son's first days of high school at Sarah. So just take a few minutes and we'll wait and we'll see how it's going. Again, that code is 1885385, or you can just scan the QR code. Feel free to keep putting in your thoughts and feelings. As you can see it changing and moving as we go, there are a number of positive phrases. There's proud, excited, happy. They're appearing. The bigger the word, it's the more often people are typing it in. There are other words that are showing how anxious and worried we might be. But what's most important, there are a range of emotions all at the same time. And there are a number of them that a lot of us are feeling. You can see it: optimistic, proud, excited. Most of those that are popping up larger than life are those that they're more positive and they're natural. We're excited and we're nervous all at the same time. I too share in these emotions. In 2 weeks, my daughter will be starting 5th grade and my son starting his sophomore year here at Sarah. Although I'm proud and excited for both of them, I'm nervous and worried at the same time. I just have to trust that their teachers will help them along, just like we will do for your boys, who are now our boys. This is a new experience for all of you, but I assure you, we know what to expect. We have seen a range of emotions and behaviors from all different types of boys as they make this critical transition to high school. That's why we've planned opening week with Big Brother events, advisories, and other activities that will be important and fun for your son's transition into high school. Over the course of the school year, you'll be meeting a number of people, but I'd like to take a moment to introduce you to our student life team. Billy Burns is our campus ministry director. We have our athletics director, Justin Ferdinand. Ray Baldonado, class of 2007, is our dean of students. Mike Langridge, class of 1991, is our activities director and father of 3 current Padres. Lawrence Long is our Tri-School Theater Company manager, and Nicholas Perazaro, class of 2000, is our wellness counselor and mission and brotherhood coordinator. We will walk with your sons on their high school journey. For this reason, we believe it's critical to help your sons build these bonds early on. Students will spend the day with their big brothers and other students from their homerooms. They will learn about their schedule, they'll take a tour of the school, they'll take their yearbook and student ID pictures, and they'll end their registration and welcome day with fun games and activities on the field with their fellow Padres. Brotherhood is a hallmark of Sarah, but it doesn't happen by accident. There will be a series of meetings between the big brothers and their freshmen to offer support to them throughout their year. They will get to know their classmates, their big brothers, and they will learn about the 4 pillars of brotherhood: respect, integrity, inclusion, and compassion. On Saturday, August 17th, your sons will be welcomed to campus by the Big Brothers to experience the new student retreat, in which they will learn more about our Padre traditions and what it truly means to be a Padre. Please encourage your sons to dress comfortably within the dress code guidelines. Therefore, a collared shirt or a Sarah t-shirt and shorts would be perfect. It's typically a warm day and they're going to be moving around, so we want them to dress appropriately and comfortably so they can enjoy the day. While the students are in their retreat, all of our new parents and guardians will have the opportunity to meet the president, principal, and other administrators, as well as the other new parents. In the gym, we will have a reception with various stations where you can purchase gear, sign up for volunteer opportunities, become a member of one of our parent organizations, get fingerprinted, and enjoy refreshments. There will also be a station for your little ones to keep them occupied and entertained while you enjoy the event. After the retreat and parent reception, there will be a prayer service for our new students and families in the auditorium. We look forward to meeting all of you that day. We will also host a series of Mission and Brotherhood days and activities throughout the year to support the health and wellness of our students. Our intention is to support the social emotional needs of your sons, build the brotherhood, and to create a strong support system for all of our students. In order to better support our students, we have a wellness counselor and a Mission and Brotherhood coordinator. This programming was developed to support our students in their moral decision-making, as well as in their journey to become active bystanders. Our curriculum teaches students how to stand up to injustices, as well as creative ways to navigate the difficult years of adolescence. Our students have seen and experienced so much over the past several years. We need to work together to reestablish our new normal. Working towards building a stronger, more inclusive community, our focus this school year is building the brotherhood through respect, integrity, and compassion. In an effort to support students in their transition to Sarah, new students are required to join and participate in at least one activity within the first 6 weeks of school. There will be a club showcase during the first week of classes where students can visit various club meetings and see what interests them. There are also various opportunities for students to participate in campus ministry retreats, liturgies, and prayer services. Campus ministry will also help students find opportunities for service throughout the year. On August 23rd, we will host the Frosh Splash. This is an event with Mercy, Notre Dame, and Sarah freshmen. They come together for a pool party as a chance to meet and connect as members of Tri-School. Student government elections will also take place early this semester. It will take place on Friday, October 18th for any freshman who would like to get involved in leadership. Whatever club your son wants to join, there will be ample opportunities for signups in the first few weeks of school, and there will be many other opportunities for your sons to get involved throughout the year. To help the students stay informed of what's going on each week, they will receive a Padre Week Ahead every Monday morning. It will include links, athletic updates, other news and announcements that support student involvement. The Padre Week Ahead will also be located in the PCR parent portal for parent access. As you are aware, the CCS start date was August 5th for football and this Friday, August 9th for cross country and water polo. Any student who is participating in a fall sport must attend the mandatory parent, guardian, and student athlete meeting on the evening of August 20th. This meeting will be held in the auditorium from 7 to 8 p.m. Tri-School Productions, which involves students from Mercy Burlingame and Notre Dame Belmont, will be auditioning for the fall play in the first few weeks of school, so students should look out for those announcements. I look forward to meeting you and your sons, and I'm excited to welcome you all into our Padre community. At this time, I'd like to introduce our Dean of Students, Mr. Ray Baldonado.
Thank you, Mrs. Ortiz, and good evening, everyone. My name is Ray Baldonado, and I am the Dean of Students here at Sarah High School. The other members of the Dean team are Ed Berry, Mariano Bermudez, Elijah Falau, Mike Keller, and Matt Keplinger. We are excited to get to know you and your sons over the course of the next 4 years. We are the ones that you will see on campus for drop-off, pickup, and daily supervisions. We are here to keep your son safe. In preparation for the new school year, we want to remind you of a few items. Flick is our cafeteria service provider, and it will be open daily. Families should be able to create accounts currently. Student ID cards, which are also the cafeteria cards, will be passed out when students take their yearbook photos. Therefore, they can use them immediately. Sarah is uniquely situated in the middle of a neighborhood. Please remember to be respectful of our neighbors and the traffic regulations, as well as our new speed limit of 15 miles per hour around campus. Please do not park in our neighbors' driveways or make U-turns in the middle of the streets. Families must always use the drop-off and pickup locations. Freshmen can be dropped off on 20th Avenue in the white zone or be dropped off in Mary's Courtyard parking lot, turning right onto Stratford towards 22nd Avenue. Please remember to pull up to the front of the parking lot so that we can avoid backups on Stratford and 20th Avenue. Please have your students arrive on campus between 7:30 and 8:10 a.m. It is important that we explain some of our everyday behavior expectations for our students. Padres are men of respect, integrity, inclusion, and compassion, and they are expected to display these qualities at all times, not just while he's in class. Your son will be treated fairly per our behavior and performance measurables set forth in our student parent handbook. You can find the handbook by going to the parent link on our school website. Attendance is mandatory. Make sure your son is early, prepared, and ready to learn on campus every day. Your son must stay on campus throughout the day until he is done with class. In an effort to build Padre decorum and pride in how a Padre presents himself to his community, our school dress code is in effect anytime your son is attending campus for class. We've received some questions regarding our hair policy. Your son's hair must remain neat and clean while maintaining his natural coloring. Please make sure your son is clean shaven every day. Our cell phone policy is that cell phones are off and put away during school hours. If they need to make a call, they can come to the main office. Students may use their phones during their lunch period in the cafeteria and on the blacktop only. If your son receives detention, he will be notified via email, and he's expected to attend detention with a member of the dean team on the day in which he receives it. As we enter the school year with all of our boys on campus, please pay special attention to our code of Christian conduct, our dress code, our use of technology policy, and our policies around impairing and intoxicating substances. Remember, your son's social media footprint counts. The expectation at Sarah is that all students have good manners, both in person as well as over social media. Our job in the dean's office is to support your son and to hold him to the agreements he has signed to be a Padre. We understand that issues will arise nowadays, especially involving social media, as well as in impairing and intoxicating substances. If your son is experiencing any of these issues, please feel free to contact the dean's office or your son's guidance counselor in order to seek support. Sarah works in partnership with all of our parents in raising men of respect, integrity, inclusion, and compassion. I look forward to meeting you soon in person if I have not already. Thank you very much. And at this time, I'd like to introduce Mrs. Jen Muncy, who's part of our advancement team, to speak about parent engagement. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Baldonado. Good evening, everyone. And once again, thank you for being part of the freshman parent orientation. My name is Jen Muncy, and I'm part of Sarah's advancement team, which provides opportunities for parents, alumni, and friends to be invested and involved in the Sarah community. My primary role in the advancement team is as the director of Sarah's annual giving program that we call the Padre Fund. Prior to coming to Sarah, I worked in advancement at Charles Armstrong School and Mercy Burlingame. This is my fourth year in advancement at Sarah High School, though I have been part of the Sarah community for more than a decade. I, like you, was a current parent at Sarah for 11 consecutive years, and all three of my sons are now Padre alumni. Jack 2016, Garrett 2020, and Carson 2023. And I can tell you all firsthand that Sarah helped mold my boys into the men that they are today. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to speak with all of you tonight about a community that I am truly passionate about. I can honestly say that Sarah High School parent involvement is what creates such a unique environment here. Earlier tonight, you heard Mr. Sullivan talk about how parents play a pivotal role in the success of our students at Sarah. Your son's experience is tremendously enhanced by your involvement, and the investment of time and talent from our Sarah families not only supports the entire school community, but also adds to each family's experience at Sarah High School. Next slide. Oh, perfect. Each new school year, we invite all families to help us reach our 100% parent participation goal in Sarah's annual giving program, the Padre Fund. As Sarah's only unrestricted giving program, the Padre Fund impacts every student's experience at Sarah, from academics and innovation programs, arts and music programs, athletics, faith and service, mission and brotherhood, counseling services, and professional development for our faculty and staff. All gifts, no matter the amount, make a difference for all students. Parent Padre Fund participation also visibly demonstrates the dedication of the parent community to the school. And many of you have already experienced our Padre community through the admissions process, open house, or even getting a chance to be on campus to see all the improvements that have been made over the last several years, as well as the current projects that are ongoing. For those of you who have not been on campus, we look forward to welcoming you into a strong and vibrant Sarah community. One of the virtues at Sarah is to lead by example. Our boys will be better leaders if they see that their parents and guardians are making an effort to be involved. So, how do you get involved? One of the best ways to get involved is to join the Mothers and Fathers Clubs. There's no fee to join these clubs. The Mothers and Fathers Clubs, excuse me, provide they're fun and easy opportunities to meet other Sarah parents and to support your sons through various social events and volunteer opportunities throughout each school year. The Mothers and Fathers Club's annual welcome event is Friday, August 23rd, and all current parents are invited and encouraged to attend. It's a really fun event. Mothers and Fathers Club signups are open now, and I highly recommend that you sign up to ensure that you receive all information regarding social events, meetups, and volunteer opportunities. To register, you can go to sarahhs.com, and under the Parents tab, you can scroll down to either Mothers Club or Fathers Club, either page, and you'll see a blue box with a link to sign up. And finally, as Mrs. Ortiz mentioned earlier, we're looking forward to seeing all of you at our mandatory new parent welcome reception and prayer service on Saturday morning, August 17th here at Sarah. While your boys are participating in an on-campus retreat, you will not only get to hear more about the exciting things happening at Sarah for the upcoming school year, but what we have planned over the next 4 years and how you as parents can really get involved. You'll also get a chance to meet other parents and guardians in person, and the morning will conclude with a prayer service in the auditorium with all our new Sarah families. And I look forward to the opportunity to meet each and every one of you in person. And thank you. I will now turn it back over to Amy for our question and answer section of the webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. I would actually like to take the opportunity to thank all of our speakers in tonight's webinar and for all the parents for your attention. We hope that the material we presented will help you and your son prepare for the first day of school at Sarah. We would like to take a few minutes to address any questions that you might have, and please place them in the Q&A box. So let's see. Any questions? Let's take this one here first. Mrs. Ortiz, are there any rules for spectators at athletic events?
Yes, we follow the guidelines for the WCAL, which falls under CCS and CIF. And we participate in positive sportsmanship across the board. So we want positive cheers for all of our students as well as the other team. So if you're going to say something, we need to remember that the person that we're cheering for or saying something to is somebody else's child. So the best thing we can do is cheer proudly for our children and keep it positive for all involved.
Great, thank you. Another question, I think that this was covered a minute ago, but Mrs. Lee, what if my son is at school and has a tech issue that he can't figure out himself?
That's a really great question. If there is a tech issue that the student is having, they can actually go to the tech center. Mr. Morris mans the tech center. He is our tech guru on campus. And so it's in the kind of the middle of the school, and he's available to the students to help them figure out their tech issues. If they do have a broken device or their device is not working, we actually have a short-term loaner program as well, so the students can check out a computer and device to be used while they're fixing or figuring out what's wrong with their regular device as well.
Thank you, Mrs. Lee. Will there be mass on campus? That's a question I've got. Mrs. Ortiz, could you answer that? Just to tell us a little bit about kind of the general layout of masses on campus.
So we do have a number of masses and prayer services throughout the year. We have a Mass of the Holy Spirit, and there are different masses on holy days of obligation, but we also have different prayer services that the boys are involved with planning and participating in throughout the year. So there's usually maybe one a month, if not more, for other things that are going on. But it just depends kind of on the month, or some clubs might have an activity like that, or some of the sports teams have chapel and different things like that. So it depends on the activity as well.
Excellent, thank you. Mr. Sullivan, there's a question about buying books. Can you please answer how students can go ahead and order their books for the fall? It might be also maybe mention also where their class, where their fall assignments or summer assignments for fall might exist as well, please.
Right. I'll start first with the schedule stuff. We're in the final stages of completing the master scheduling process. And it's like puzzles within puzzles within puzzles, if you can imagine. So look for individual student schedules, itemized student schedules to be released by the end of the week. Regarding books, you should have received from me kind of an institutional email that explains the book purchasing process through MBS. That's our book provider. So check your email, tsullivan@sarahhs.com. If you didn't receive that email me at that email address and I'll send it to you again. But all freshmen have received that several weeks ago or a few weeks ago. Hope that answers your questions. And I was typing those same answers on the chat as well.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. Mrs. Muncy, is there a chance that you could maybe put the links to the parent clubs in the chat so that anybody that wants to access them quickly had a question about that?
Yes.
Thank you. Mrs. Lee, does my son need to check in anywhere for independent study?
That's a great question. No, they do not need to check in anywhere for independent study. Students can pretty much go to 2 locations, or kind of 3 locations for independent study. The Stinson Center for Learning and Innovation, the cafeteria. They can also go to campus ministry as well, or the counselors, actually maybe 4. And so those are the locations available for students for independent study. They do have to stay there, and most of them are working or eating lunch or hanging out with their friends.
Mrs. Lee, I have you in the hot seat right now because I have another question that I think pertains to you, and that is, what if my son begins in an honors class but wants to drop down because he feels it's too rigorous?
That's a really great question as well. I would encourage the student to stay in a little bit and talk to the teacher and kind of figure out, is that class too challenging for them, or is it they're just a little bit nervous because they're not sure kind of what to expect. I would then encourage them to talk to their counselor or Mr. Sullivan as well. Mr. Sullivan is actually the administrator in charge of scheduling. And so students have first 3 weeks of school to kind of figure out, okay, I'm not sure about this honors class, or, I don't want to take this elective anymore. So if there are any scheduling questions, the counselor and Mr. Sullivan are the 2 people to go to.
Great, thank you. And I'm seeing a question here that I think has been answered pretty well by Principal McGraw, but it was a question about student navigators and mentors for our freshmen to find their classrooms during their first days. And Mrs. Ortiz, do you want to talk a little bit about just kind of the brotherhood as it extends outside just a definition in terms of what we actually do on campus to greet our new Padres?
Absolutely. So basically, the whole first week and beyond, we have big brothers who have been set up with the freshmen. So each homeroom has 5 to 9 big brothers, and there are, let's say, 3 or 4 big brothers per 3 to 4 freshmen per big brother. So your son will have a big brother that he can speak to. He'll have his information. He'll check on him regularly. And then that very first week of school, we have a big brother ice cream social so that they can check in. How are your classes going? How are you feeling? Things like that. And we have those spread out throughout the year. We also have the Mission and Brotherhood days that pop up periodically throughout the year. I think there are 6 days for the freshmen. And on those days, we have the Mission and Brotherhood leaders who are seniors and they work with big brothers too, but they're scheduled to work with a class as well. So you have juniors and seniors who are always working with your sons and really mentoring them throughout the year. And they really pay attention and they get to know your boys because we want to make sure that there's not just one older student that's paying attention to them and knowing them. We're trying to help them build their community as they're going through the process. And not only are they going to have adults to look to in their family and in their friend group, like their friends' parents, their teachers, but they'll have older students who are mentors who have been trained by us to be able to answer the hard questions, or they know who to go get in the in the classroom or in administration if a student's struggling with something. So we really have it set up across the board to make sure that our boys know who to get the answers from if they need it and where to point freshmen in the right direction if they need support and help. But a lot of times, just having somebody checking in with you throughout the process who's an older guy who seems to have it together a little bit really works wonders.
Thank you, Mrs. Ortiz. That was a great answer and very thorough. So thank you for that. Mr. Baldonado, question for the Dean team. Is there a place for students to hang out before classes begin in the day or after, maybe in between sports or after sports to hang out?
Yes, there is. So students can arrive on campus at 7:30 in the morning before class if they need to get dropped off early. The cafeteria as well as the Stinson Center will be available before school. After school, the Stinson Center will stay open as well.
Great, thank you. And I'm going to ask you one more question, if that's okay, Mr. Baldonado. What if a student wants to ride a bike or an e-bike? What is the process for that in terms of where they store them? Do they need to have a permit?
So no, for bikes, they do not need any sort of a permit. We do have 2 bike racks on campus that are available. So I would just recommend bringing their own lock. Obviously, as those are expensive. So please make sure that they're locked up.
Wonderful. And Mrs. Ortiz, what is the dress code for picture day?
I was just answering that. So picture day is a regular school day. So if you want your student to wear a collared shirt that day, he is welcome to do so. If you're not worried about it either way, it's okay with us if he wears a Sarah t-shirt. It's the regular dress code, which you can find on pages 48 and 49 of the handbook. So they're welcome to wear a collared shirt. They're welcome to wear a Sarah t-shirt. They should wear non-athletic shorts, jeans, khakis, anything like that. But they're fine to wear their Sarah t-shirt if it's okay with you.
Wonderful, thank you. And I saw a question come in about microwaves in terms of in the cafeteria, and I think Mr. Sullivan answered it, but I wanted to add, I think the panini presses are also pretty popular.
They
So,
are. And if you
yes.
ask the boys, they can fit 5 sandwiches on a panini at a time. So they've maximized it so they can get through that line at lunch.
Wonderful. A true boys' school. Loving their sandwiches. I also wanted to ask, there's a question about books. What if the books don't come on time? Is there a grace period for the first week of school, or what is the process there, Mr. Sullivan?
Yeah, I was just typing that as well. Teachers understand that the book buying process is a process and subject to shipping and all of that, and availability. So there's a certain amount of flexibility there. If you haven't ordered books at all, they'll be late. I think that's definitely true. But communicating with the teachers up front, I think, is really always the best antidote to just about everything. If your son hasn't received his books yet, that would be probably the second thing he says after "Hi, my name is," and then "And my books aren't here yet," and the teacher will help problem solve that. But I wouldn't worry too much about it. After the first couple of weeks, however, then things are really clicking into high gear. Other options include up in the Stinson Center, we have not for checkout, but for like library use textbooks. So if a student during his free period needs a textbook and he doesn't have his yet, that's a place where he can go and look at the material, maybe make photocopies and such. So those are a couple of options.
Wonderful. And on that note, Mr. Sullivan, can you also just maybe explain what a student should expect on the first day, bringing their device obviously to class, but will each teacher give them instructions on what type of classroom supplies they might need?
Yeah, I answered that one as well. Back in the day, right, grammar school, you'd get in the school supply list to be like 2 or 3 pages long. I don't see that at all at Sarah. Most of what we do and most of what happens in the classroom is electronic or textbook driven, although less than it used to be. So your son having a device that's dependable, charged up, and it's his, right? He's not sharing it, and might be out unavailable one day or another. Having his device ready to go, he's comfortable on his device from day one, will make it, I think, work out really well for him. Teachers will start the day with probably looking at a digital syllabus, and that'll be in Google Classroom. I know when I was in the classroom, that's exactly how I did it. That was a way to get them oriented to Google Classroom. That was the first document that mattered. I made it an assignment, so they had to, interact with the document to demonstrate that they were in. So I would look for things like that right off the bat. But getting into Google Classroom, and if I can say, that's your son's domain. The Google Classroom is his domain. So sometimes we have parents ask for permission to have access to their son's Google Classroom. The answer is no. That's like you sitting in the classroom with your son. The answer is also no there as well. So respect your son's space in Google Classroom. If you need to see it or look at an assignment with him, by all means, but have that conversation about that. About that interaction and that kind of like student teacher boundary or student parent teacher boundary, that is a bit of a slippery slope. What we don't want, obviously, is the work being done by someone other than the student. So a number of thoughts there on the digital environment for the learning in the first few days.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. I'm seeing a question here about when students will be pictured for their student IDs, and that's on registration day. But Mrs. Ortiz, can you answer what would happen if a student were to lose that ID? Because I know I have a son that did.
Yeah. If your son loses the ID, they can go to the main office and get a temporary ID, and then they're sent to the tech center, and Mr. Morris will create a new one for them for a fee.
Wonderful. Thank you. And I'm just going to ask anybody to throw out any last minute questions where I'm sort of getting to the end of the questions I'm seeing. So if you have any extra questions, go ahead and please just throw them in the group chat. All right. Our team has done a pretty thorough job of answering them on the fly. So looking for ones to call out is a little difficult. So great job, team. So we're nearing the end of our webinar, and I would like to thank you all for your time. We are excited to see you and your families on Saturday, August 17th at 8:30 for our welcome prayer service and reception. And I'd just like to turn it over and just ask President Mike Fedeli if there's anything else that you'd like to add.
Yeah, thank you all for being here. Lots of great questions, nothing we haven't heard before in the past. The first couple of days are going to be a little chaotic for your kids, but by the end of their first week, they're going to know how to get to their classes. They're going to know how to get around campus. We've got you guys covered with this. So on behalf of all of us here at Sarah, I want to thank you for joining us tonight. And we look forward to a wonderful school year with you and your boys. And as I like to say, go Padres.